video today just so that I didn't have to go live at a certain time because it's the weekend and I wanted to hang out with my kids. It's a really beautiful day today in San Diego. We're at the beach. It's right behind me. My son Archie. We're just hanging out, going on a walk. Went to a coffee shop, did some thrifting. Okay, so today's question is from @KellyH3356. And the question is, as a Neverin, I've noticed that many ex-Scientologists have a difficult time finding a middle ground between sharing too much with the public versus sharing just the broad strokes, what I consider to be private for myself. Only would share with a small private circle, is often shared in its entirety to the world. This is especially true of people who are in Scientology as young children. How have you found a balance in sharing life experiences, emotions, intimate details with the world, and do you find it to be difficult to know where the line is? I believe it is really related to trust and judging those boundaries. Thank you so much for considering my question. I'm really glad you're out of the cold. That's really sweet. Thank you, Kelly. So I guess the answer to this question is probably different for everybody. I guess I actually like sharing parts of my life that are not just about my experience in Scientology, but I think that the reason for that is because if I only talk about Scientology, I honestly get a little bit bored because it's not what my life is all about right now. So I actually feel like it's really helpful to include my current, like the things I'm interested in right now that I'm passionate about, and relate them back to when I was in Scientology as a kid. And also to, see how my childhood sort of led me into my current interests. So it's not so much that I feel like I have to share things. If I don't want to share things, I won't. I don't feel any pressure to share things. I just actually like sharing things with people, but there are certain things that I won't share, that I keep private. But yeah, I think that there's probably an idea that because we did confessionals and we were required to tell all sorts of things, otherwise we would get in trouble. Maybe it's thought that that's why we share, and that may be the case for some people. But as a kid, when I did confessionals, I really was reticent to share in those, meaning like I wasn't jumping to share every private detail about myself in those confessionals. So it's not like out of habit that we share. Yeah, but again, I can only answer for myself. And so I think that like some people, for example, are uncomfortable, showing their kids on camera or things like that because, kids can't consent. And that's totally understandable and makes sense, and I support that. But so for me, I have a hard time not sharing my kids because I'm so excited and there's so much part of my everyday life, and it's actually something that I'm passionate about, but I would never share them without their permission. And I definitely want to respect their choices completely. But I have the opposite problem. It's like I want to share them, and I also want them to know that when I was doing my YouTube channel, when they might look back at it one day, that they weren't excluded from it in any way, that I wanted them to be a part of something that was really important to me. I hope that answers the question. I'm going to actually take another look at it to see if I'm missing anything else. Oh, okay. So one other thing I wanted to add to that is that there are some private details that I share because it is impossible to understand the gravity of how things were in Scientology without sharing those personal details. So I know I don't have to, but it's a choice I make. So for instance, if I tell about my life growing up in Scientology and how I was at the ranch doing 35 hours of labor per week, and then I was sent to Florida when I was 12, where I was 3,000 miles away from my parents, and I was sort of forced to join the Sea Org, and I wasn't allowed to call my parents, etc. When I say those things, those are all very, like, they shed light on the abuses of Scientology. But I think there are some personal details that actually add to that. Like, for instance, like as a 12-year-old girl, that's also the time when I was like starting my period, and not having a mom or a guardian or anyone who I could really talk to at that time is an important detail. And it's TMI, it's too much, but it's true. And it's not that big of a deal. We all have our period. So, like, that's something that could be considered like where people think that I am oversharing or I have to, but it's actually my choice, because I think that it just gives another little detail that is happening at that time that is really important to have your mom or someone around for, and it just sheds a little extra light on that experience. Okay, I hope that answers the question. I would love if you guys could put more questions in the comments of this video, because I'm making a whole list, and certain days I feel like answering certain questions, and so and I can put similar questions together so there's never too many questions. All right, you guys, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday evening and Sunday, and I will be back tomorrow, but it will be probably pre-recorded as well. All right, bye.